The Spartan method, mental discipline that builds unstoppable high performance. The forge of discipline. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a Spartan. What do you see? Most of us picture brutal warriors, a rigid society, and merciless training. But what I, as an archaeologist of performance, see in this model is not violence, it is pure, unshakable discipline. The secret of Sparta was never just in the physical strength of its men, but in the mental strength that their training forged. Their high performance was a direct result of a mindset built on purpose and resilience that went far beyond the battlefield. Spartan training was not about killing. It was about not being killed. It was about survival, mental and physical. And this is the most powerful lesson we can unearth today. We live in an era that glorifies results without respecting the process. We want strength but avoid pain. The Spartan reminds us that pain is the forge of character. Their training began in childhood, not simply to create soldiers, but to create citizens. They were taught to endure cold, hunger, and exhaustion, not because cruelty was the goal, but because strength was the outcome. The discipline they teach us is about accepting discomfort as part of growth. Their focus was not on the immediate present, but on a future they might never personally see. They understood that the purpose of life was not individual happiness, but the strength and resilience of the community. High performance born from pain and training is far more durable than anything born from comfort. Spartan discipline was forged through the acceptance of impermanence, of life's fragility. This acceptance gave them a clarity of purpose that made them truly unstoppable. They did not fight for money or glory, but for honor. And that is the greatest difference. High performance born from an unshakable purpose is stronger and longer lasting than performance born from the desire for rewards. Spartan discipline reflected an inner commitment that transcended the battlefield. The Spartan mindset was never about being the strongest, but about being the most resilient. And your life, your work, your business, these are your battlefields. The first step toward victory is to anchor yourself in a purpose greater than yourself. So here is your practical action for this first part of our journey. Identify one discomfort you constantly avoid. It might be a boring task, a difficult conversation, or a workout you dread. Then ask yourself, how can I use this discomfort to strengthen myself? How can I turn this pain into resilience? Don't rush the answer. Just feel the weight of the question. That question itself is the first stone in the foundation of your pyramid. Because in truth, greatness does not emerge from avoiding pain, it comes from shaping pain into growth. Every Spartan learned this from the time they could walk. And today, that same principle is your opportunity. If you can embrace discomfort instead of fleeing from it, you can begin to train your mind to stand firm in the face of challenges that break most people. That is the essence of the Spartan method, not to be the biggest, the fastest, or the most gifted, but to be the one who never breaks. Now, pause for a moment. Think of your own life. Where are you running from pain? Where are you avoiding growth? If you truly want high performance, you must confront these places directly. That is where your discipline is forged. That is where your resilience is born. And once you step into that mindset, you will begin to realize that your potential is far greater than you ever imagined. If the idea that pain can be the forge of your discipline resonates with you, comment below, I endure. If this full video made you reflect, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and don't miss the next deep dive in our expedition. The power of the collective. If you allowed yourself to ask how discomfort could make you stronger, then you've already stepped onto the path of the Spartan. What most people fail to understand is that high performance is never a solo act. It is the product of a shared purpose, of a community that pushes you forward, and of discipline that is forged together. A Spartan never trained alone. He was part of the agogia, a system of education and training that transformed boys into warriors. Within the system, they learned to share, to care for one another, and to fight as one. Their resilience was never just their own. It was the resilience of the group, of the phalanx. And that is the lesson we can unearth here. Your true strength is multiplied by the community that surrounds you. On our journey as archaeologists of success, we have uncovered many codes of discipline, but few run as deep as the Spartan method. They reveal to us that high performance is not about the conquest of things, but about building a purpose that outlives you. Their goal was not simply to be warriors, but to be guardians of their community. Spartan resilience was not built on the hope of some distant future, it was rooted in the certainty that their actions in the present honored their purpose and their people. They understood something profound. The fear of death is not about dying, but about failing to truly live. And this is one of the most powerful lessons they left behind. High performance born from a legacy-driven purpose is stronger and more enduring than anything born from a shallow desire for reward. Spartan discipline was sharpened through the acceptance of impermanence, through recognizing the fragility of life. That acceptance gave them a clarity of purpose that made them unshakable. They didn't build for money or glory, but for legacy. And that is the greatest difference. Performance rooted in a higher purpose will always outlast performance rooted in personal gain. The discipline of a Spartan reflected an inner vow that transcended the battlefield. Now, here is your practical action for the stage of our journey. It is time to explore the power of collective performance. Grab your notebook and write down a fear that paralyzes you. It could be the fear of failing at a project, the fear of being judged, or even the fear of starting something new. Once you identify it, imagine your legacy. Imagine that you have already built your pyramid, that your work, your impact, your discipline has already stood the test of time. Now, ask yourself this critical question. If my worst fear came true, could I still act in a way that honored my legacy? This single exercise can shift everything. Why? Because the act of planning your resilience before crisis arrives is what gives you the strength to face it, or even to prevent it from paralyzing you. Spartans trained for years, not only for the battle they knew was coming, but for the ones they could never predict. And it was that preparation, that mindset, that made them unstoppable. Think about it. What if you trained your mind not only to fight the battles in front of you, but also to embrace the uncertainty of those still unseen? That is how you build a resilience that no crisis can destroy. This is the power of the collective mindset. It is not only about what you can endure, but about what you can inspire in those around you. When you carry a legacy-driven purpose, others will rise with you, just as Spartans rose together in the phalanx. This journey is only beginning to reveal its true power. We are barely scratching the surface of what the Spartan method can offer you. But know this, if you anchor your life in a purpose that goes beyond yourself, you will become part of something greater. You will tap into a performance that is not limited by fear, but elevated by community and legacy. If the idea of building a legacy that transcends your life resonates with you, comment below, community. If this full video made you reflect, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and don't miss the next phase of our expedition. The call to excellence. If you have already embraced the courage to seek a collective purpose, then you are ready to uncover the secret of Spartan excellence. Their high performance was not measured in victories, but in the mindset that pushed them to pursue excellence in everything they did. The Spartans had a powerful concept called a word that can be translated as virtue, excellence, or bravery. For them, a was not a destination, but a journey. It was a relentless focus on becoming the best version of yourself, not for boasting or ego, but to honor your discipline and your community. And that is the priceless lesson we can unearth. Excellence is not about winning, it's about living with purpose. As archaeologists of success, we have unearthed many codes of discipline, but few are as profound as the Spartan method. Spartans show us that high performance is not about collecting achievements, but about building a purpose that transcends time. Their purpose was not just to be warriors, but to be guardians of their community. Their resilience was not forged in the hope of a distant future, but in the certainty that their present actions honored their purpose and their people. They understood a truth that most of us forget. The fear of death is not truly about dying, it is about failing to live fully. And that is our greatest lesson. High performance built upon a legacy-driven purpose is far stronger and longer lasting than anything born out of the pursuit of rewards. Spartan discipline was forged through the acceptance of impermanence and the fragility of life. This deep acceptance granted them a clarity of purpose that made them unshakable. They did not build for money or for glory, but for legacy. That is the defining difference. High performance born from an unwavering purpose outlives performance driven by short-term rewards. Spartan discipline reflected an inner vow that reached far beyond the battlefield. So what does this mean for you? It means that excellence cannot be measured only in results. True excellence is found in the process, in the daily commitment to rise above mediocrity, in every choice you make when no one is watching. Spartans practiced arete not because it was easy, but because it was the path to meaning. And if you want to live a life of high performance, you must treat excellence as your daily practice, not your distant goal. Here's your practical action for the stage. Once again, take your notebook and think of a fear that paralyzes you. It could be the fear of failing, of being judged, or even of succeeding beyond what you believe you deserve. Then, imagine your legacy already built. Imagine your pyramid complete, your impact already established. Now, ask yourself the crucial question: if my worst fear came true, could I still act in a way that honors my legacy? This exercise forces you to look at excellence through a new lens. It is not about eliminating fear, but about choosing action in spite of fear. Excellence is not perfection, it is consistency, courage, and resilience practiced every single day. Spartans knew this. That's why their performance lasted far beyond their lifetimes. Their true victory was not on the battlefield, but in the discipline they passed on as a timeless legacy. So take a step back and ask yourself, what is your arete? What is the excellence you are willing to pursue? Not for applause, but for the strength it gives you and the legacy it leaves behind. When you find your answer, you will have uncovered the true meaning of high performance. If the idea of pursuing a legacy of excellence resonates with you, comment below, "Excellence." If this full video made you reflect, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and don't miss the next phase of our expedition. The virtue of the warrior. We began this journey with the image of an armored warrior, and now we arrive at the point where his mental discipline becomes his greatest legacy. Spartan high performance was never about trophies or conquests. It was about the ability to live with purpose in the middle of chaos. The Spartan teaches us that true discipline is not measured by the number of victories you achieve, but by the quality of your character. Their method of training, their legacy, proves that the greatest battle is not fought against the world, but within your own mind. The resilience of a warrior is not in his ability to never break, but in his ability to rebuild himself every single day in silence. Modern leaders often dream of leaving behind billion-dollar companies or empires of influence. But ask yourself, what remains when an empire crumbles? The only thing that survived from Sparta was not its wealth or its monuments, but its discipline, its mindset, its sense of purpose. What they left us is a timeless manual for high performance, because the battle for personal leadership never goes out of style. Your legacy will not be defined by what you accumulate, but by the person you become. The discipline you exercise, the virtuous choices you make when no one is watching, those are the real measures of your strength. Your high performance will not be a number on a scoreboard, but the example you leave behind, the fortress of your mindset that inspires others to become emperors of their own minds. A true leader's mindset is not about being flawless, but about seeking progress every single day. The Spartan method reminds us that high performance is a calling to action, an invitation to relentless focus, and unshakable resilience. And the legacy you build will not be one of power, but of wisdom. A dynasty not of riches, but of conscious choices. A legacy built on silent discipline, lived purposefully, day after day. That is the essence of high performance. It is not an end point, it is the journey itself, a path that never truly ends. Here is your practical action for this final stage. Make a commitment to yourself. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a version of yourself in the future, standing at the peak of your performance. What would that version of you say to the person you are today, right here at the beginning of this path? Write that message down in your journal. Read it every single day. Let it become your anchor, your guide, the voice that calls you back to your deepest purpose when the world tries to pull you away. Because in the end, your true strength is not in the empire you build outside, but in the dynasty of discipline you build within. That is what endures. That is what inspires, and that is what transforms you from a seeker of power into a guardian of purpose. Our expedition through the wisdom of Socrates gave us new insights into leadership. The Code of the Samurai revealed the power of legacy. And now, the Spartan method has shown us the virtue of discipline forged in silence. But our journey as archaeologists of success is only beginning. There are countless other artifacts, philosophies, and stories still waiting to be uncovered. If you are ready to begin your own dynasty of discipline, comment below. My discipline. If you don't want to miss the next chapter of our expedition, where we will explore the mindset of a legendary strategist from the past, like this full video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear these lessons today.